What is up, guys? Welcome back to Big Shank. We are so back, and so is offensive shot making. That's a joke. Did not happen, but that is what a painting of incredibly well scouted and executed defensive strategy looks like. Man, is it good to be back in a NBA landscape of parity. A really good litmus test game where if you didn't enjoy this game, you probably don't actually care about NBA basketball. This is exactly what happens when you have two incredibly talented teams on both ends of the floor. Number one, OKC proved it can close largely through its defense. This is coming off the heels of the league lowest 24 clutch games in the regular season. It's an interesting paradigm where you are so dominant in the regular season that you are actually not putting yourself in position to develop some degree of awareness and know-how or experience in finishing and closing off really tight games against formidable opponents. And so far in the series, it's kind of looked that way, with Denver having taken home the two games that went into clutch time and out executing the Thunder. And obviously there was maybe a little bit of luck and really just capitalizing of errors from the Aaron Gordon buzzer beater. But point stands, this is a super unique case study because this is the youngest team in the NBA. So there's not even like you have a ton of externally sourced experience to be leveraging or working off of. And the team itself is so dominant that it hasn't even been in position to develop this kind of muscle to execute or out execute fellow great and experienced contending teams. That changed tonight. OKC holds on to even the series, and the wording there extremely intentional. I think the narrative up until this point, oh my God, Thunder too young. This is actually development year. They are not ready for this. Denver's too experienced. They have the pedigree. This is what you get for not trading for Laurie Markkinen, whatever the fuck you want to say. Two, Denver, on the flip side, failed to execute on good enough chances. Sub-bullet points to that. Fatigue was sort of morphed into a leading headline here, and yes, the previous game was 36 hours ago. The teams didn't really go anywhere. This is the second game in Denver. Sure, they are older, but if you just look at their actual 6 guys who actually play minutes, it's pretty much guys in their prime and Russell Westbrook, who is the Energizer Bunny and if anything needs to slow the fuck down. The other part of it is the soft whistle early. I think that the number of stoppages in this game due to how tonight's whistle was also kind of let guys rest a lot more, it felt like to me. There were a fuck ton of personal fouls. Credit to Gilgeous-Alexander for establishing that from the jump. He has 11 field goal attempts in the first half. That is a very healthy marker. A little bit of the classic grifting. It is what it is. I think Shea got, to my eye, at least 2 nonsense, barely even regular season contact touch fouls, to which Jokic infamously goes ahead and draws his own on the very next possession, but somehow doesn't get the and one. I'm sure is going to be some level of technicality, rationale behind it, but principle-wise, you just saw the entire arena react to Shai Gilgeous grifting, and then Jokic, to a T, emulates that perfectly, and you are not gonna... It's just like, you could have helped yourself a little more, but you didn't. Also, can we just not dive on loose balls anymore? Like, it's borderline impossible to even grab a ball to summon a jump ball without inadvertently touching another dude on the ground when they're huddled around the ball like an armadillo. I don't understand why it feels like as soon as somebody even like gets in the airspace of someone else on the ground, refs just assume they are gonna break their fucking legs and Draymond Green curb stomp them. Like I just don't like how automatic it feels that balls on the ground are just going to be called fouls. Number 3, which is going to get all of the attention, is the hilarious shooting numbers, is a painting of high-level elite defense. Going into halftime, it is 42-36. Oklahoma City in front. Is this a March Madness matchup? Maybe. The thing that really takes the cake for me is going into halftime, the Nuggets had scored 8 field goals. Yeah. But what I'm sure is going to get buried here is that obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder putting up only 42 points, just 6 points ahead of Denver. They only finished making 16 field goals. So yes, double the number of Denver, but holy shit, the Thunder finished shooting 36% from the floor and the Nuggets shooting 31%. This was a hilariously incredible defensive performance for both sides. And yes, the Nuggets and Jokic are going to kind of get buried here because home team having the lead, whatever. The pressure was all on the Thunder. They're a young team with no experience to draw from. So if they go down 3-1, I actually think the series would be toast. And then last but not least is OKC passed its biggest test to date. Denver closing the third quarter with all of the momentum roaring back from that horrific first half, going into the fourth quarter, a 7-point lead. Nut crunch time for the Thunder, letting that home team carry that much momentum. They spawn their own 9-0 run off the heels of Cason Wallace with 2 threes and Aaron Wiggins 2 threes without Shai Gilgeous even on the floor. Withstand that momentum on the road and trust each other and even their role guys to deliver. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Tweeted in the moment, like, this is a real litmus test, fork in the road type of deal. Young team, all of the context. Are they going to be able to weather this type of storm, especially after having lost the previous 2 clutch time games? Good for them getting out of it this time. Starting here with the Denver Nuggets, we have to talk about the offensive execution late in that fourth quarter. There were 4 key moments that I thought they whiffed on that I thought were really emblematic of where they could have cut this game closer, and in previous games they had been able to execute. Jokic going 0 for 2 on free throws, down 4. This dude just can't make free throws these days. It makes no fucking sense at all. Comes right back, tries to hit an above the break 3. They are now down 6. AG only splits a pair, down 5. Christian Braun misses an open corner 3. I haven't seen the replay yet, but I think it's either open or wide the fuck open. That needed to go in. They are now down 7. Jokic gets a beautiful dish from Aaron Gordon driving, cutting it to 5. MPJ missing an 11-foot turnaround jump shot, also down 5. They get a stop. Jamal Murray airballs an open 3-point look. And so the Jokic free throws, the Christian Braun corner 3, and the Michael Porter Jr. missed 11-foot turnaround, I thought were the biggest 3 missed chances where honestly I just come to expect the Nuggets to be able to execute on those plays. Aaron Gordon splitting a pair 2 isn't great, but Jokic cannot be going 0 for 2, man. It's just tough, and this is where it probably was a function of the fatigue, if anything. Like, if you're gonna throw that into any part of this game, I guess it would have to come in there. Next, the defense was there. Absolutely clamped the shit out of the Thunder in that third quarter, finishing 33-21 points in the quarter, and they roared back, going up 7 into the fourth quarter. Typically, that doesn't sound like a lot of ground, but holy fuck, no one's making shots. So that's actually a pretty considerable amount of cushion. I'm sure Jokic and Adelman were thinking and hoping that they were going to be able to even give Jokic some degree of added, somewhat extra rest. And of course, that isn't even close to what happened, and that dovetails into the Jokic wearing down narrative that is inevitably spawning in the crevices of fucking Twitter. His first field goal in this game occurred in the second quarter with 6 minutes and 8 seconds left. So halfway through the second quarter, Nikola Jokic makes his first field goal. I mentioned before that the Nuggets as a team only made 2 field goals in the first quarter at all, so I don't know, maybe that's helpful. At this point, it does feel like the Thunder are enacting what they typically do even throughout the regular season within the context of a singular game. Is their tenacity and physicality is not even boxed into a singular game. We are now talking about a 36-hour break from pretty much back-to-back games, and this series is going to be a boxing fight, and the longer it goes, the worse it gets for Denver, enduring all of the wear and tear that the Thunder imbue on your team. On top of that, the fact that the Nuggets have 6.5 guys that it clearly trusts to even get court time. Shout out Julian Strother, getting a couple minutes there. Came right in, got a foul within like 30 seconds. It was hilarious. So the lack of offensive execution is just going to be additively costly, because you see the Hardenstein and Chet Holmgren wearing on Jokic, and that's not even thinking about the fact that everybody else in an Oklahoma City Thunder jersey has a foot in the fucking paint if Jokic is within 16 feet. It's insane what this dude is enduring at a physical level. Granted, he's finally getting free throws this game. He had 14 attempts, which is fine. But you can't really quantify the cost of the lack of the established three-point shooting that they had in the previous game, as well as that first one. Michael Porter Jr. hits shots early in that one. Peyton Watson is also hitting shots. Christian Brown was able to knock down some timely ones. Aaron Gordon, same deal. This game had nothing. It was an absolute slugfest, and there was no fucking shot making around Jokic whatsoever. And this dude is getting pummeled with 2x4s on the asphalt of an alley in downtown Gotham. Like, this dude is fucking dying in the street, and nobody else is getting him any fucking spacing. And I'm just saying, if we're coming at Jokic in all of the greatness that we've witnessed from this man coming out, and people are now going to turn their snooty noses up at him, like, yeah, well, you're not that good, then dog. You can't be like saying that and then in the same breath be like, yeah, Oklahoma City is like the best defense I've ever seen in my life. And also, yeah, they only have 6 guys and they fired their coach and none of their guys can shoot from 3 and he's basically doing everything. Like, we can't be condescending and like bag on this guy and the fact that he might be wearing down in this fucking series. If anything, we should be expecting it and pointing all of our fingers at every fucking other Denver Nugget on the roster to step their shit up, because at minimum, Jokic is attracting the wrath of this 11 guy deep roster of a historic defense, and y'all need to fucking make some plays before this dude breaks his fucking femur. Christian Brown, 4 for 11. Jamal Murray, 17 points, 5 for 15. Russell Westbrook, 2 for 12. Michael Porter Jr., 1 for 7. Peyton Watson, 1 for 3. Aaron Gordon, 5 for 10. Jamal Murray with 4 turnovers, also really coming down to earth and regressing there. Seemed a little bit sluggish. Russell Westbrook fouls out. This is not Jokic. Like, I don't even know how we're having this conversation. It's just so fucking nuts to me that there are people genuinely bagging on Jokic and what he is doing and how many shots he is taking and the turnovers and probably the usage and the flailing for free throws when he's getting mauled. Like, it's just unbelievable to think about almost any other human being that has ever played in this game, like LeBron in 2018, pretty much, where it was Dellavedova and Korver and Tristan. Like, that dude is being sucked off by the media as the best of all time, and holy shit, he's carrying all of this. And we're looking at Jokic doing pretty much more than that against an even more formidable opponent. And it's like, man, I don't think this guy's actually that good. Like, look at MVP Shea over there. He is really knocking him down, and this is nuts. I don't think there's another human being on the planet that could pretty much stand as good of a chance as Jokic is doing right now. So we'll just hang that right there. Pivoting now to the Thunder, that was the best first half defensive performance I've ever seen in my entire life. Denver goes 2 for 22 field goals. That is 9% from the floor with 5 turnovers in that first quarter. 2 made field goals in the first quarter of play. Second quarter, 6 of 16 field goals, 38%, 3 turnovers. So now we have 8 turnovers in the first half, and in totality, 8 made field goals. This is fucking batshit insane, considering we are looking at the Denver Nuggets offensive machine of computerized execution and beautiful role specialization and continuity and blah, 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 blah. They are fucking suffocating this team, and it is an unbelievable testament to Dagnall and Presti for the nature versus nurture, identifying guys with this defensive genetic DNA, as well as cultivating a system requiring and gaining the buy-in of all 10, 11 guys that do come in and play from Dagnall. The ability to get in the paint and bother Jokic. As soon as he turns any shoulder, they are pouncing on him. And as soon as they get him worried about that, he has to be shuffling, and then he's out of rhythm. And then you're seeing him start to now miss shots that he typically doesn't, even close to the rim, speeding him up a little bit, getting in the way and hurting his other superpower, which is offensive rebounding. And they're really just hedging their bets in the exact way that any good team would, is MPJ, Russ, or CB are not making shots. I am going to maul this little gazelle in the field, and we are a bunch of rabid werewolves, and we are gonna fucking kill it. And even if he gets Russ open looks in the corner, I do not care. Even if he makes 3 of them, I do not care. Next, the monster statement in Q4 beginning without Shai Gilgeous on the floor, which I do think matters a lot. Similar to all the shade that I throw at Jason Tatum when his team goes down, I say it all the time. It is always Derek White, Jaylen Brown, someone not named Jason Tatum sparks the comebacks for the Boston Celtics. Funny enough, today, trailing by 7 in a dogfight defensive matchup going into the fourth, without Shai Gilgeous on the floor, Jalen Williams carries that second unit with Wallace and Aaron Wiggins to spark a 9-0 run. Granted, Denver without Jokic as well, but jdub diving, being aggressive in the open floor, getting swings. Has Aaron Wiggins ever missed a swing 3 ever, or a second chance opportunity off of an offensive rebound? I don't think I've ever seen him miss either of those shots. Holy fuck, that dude is so cold. Case and Wallace hitting a 3, Wiggins on the swing 3, and then another Wallace 3, which pretty much guaranteed Lou Dort was going to get benched, and I'll touch on that in a second. But it completely stomped out all of that precious momentum that Denver had finally unlocked in that massive third quarter. SGA comes back in at his usual time around 9 minutes, and I have to say, especially deep in nut crunch time, clutch time, what have you, this whole hero ball with Shai Gilgeous basically spearheading everything did not look fucking good to me. Again, I haven't looked at the replay yet, but I do not like that guy going and trying to weave his way into playmaking. At least not yet. He does not seem comfortable enough against this Denver zone specifically. That manifests both in the actual shot making. You know, he goes 8 for 19, under 50%, 42%. He only made 8 field goals. Nikola Jokic made 7. That's pretty much why I titled this video, or whatever my biggest takeaway was. OKC held on and Denver failed to execute on pretty decent looks. OKC's offense, led by this hero ball Shai Gilgeous thing, was not going to be sufficient. We have seen in this series, maybe with a little more rest, whatever you want to blame it on, Denver capitalizes on either those free throws, Christian Braun hitting the 3, MPJ turnaround, or Jamal's open pull-up 3. Like, there is a real fucking world where they coughed this game up, and yes, the defense was great, but I was not impressed by the offense. Next, the SGA to Hardenstein on the roll, and then Chet in that dunker. Chet is a very large human being, and having Hardenstein, a fellow large human being, giving him the big to big lob. I think they got 3 of them and they all looked basically untouched. Just thought that was notable because of how replicable it felt, because of how much gravity Shai Gilgeous is just gonna have if he's able to get to the nail or close to it. And Hardenstein is so good at getting to open pockets on the floor, especially against a zone that is super, super important. Getting the ball to Hardenstein inside of that short mid-range region, especially getting downhill and having Chet on the weak side, 1 is giving Denver its own medicine, but 2, something that I would be little mindful of if I was Dagnall and his team in trying to get infused in game 5. Next, Dort was benched coming down the stretch in Q4, and Dagnall opting for Wallace and Caruso. I personally think it was the fact that Cason Wallace made those 2 enormous threes almost back-to-back, which sparked the 9-0 comeback run for the Thunder. He shot his way into more minutes, but then ultimately closing with Caruso, their 31-year-old veteran. He is literally the oldest guy in a Thunder jersey, which is hilarious. Just makes a lot of sense. The guy's been a winner, and he's gonna make really heady plays and basically not make mistakes. And he's also hit some shots this series. So looking ahead at game 5, I think 1, the fact it's not until Tuesday, I guess, is kind of nice. But 2, I still feel good about Denver. I just think that Jokic is not going to let this team get embarrassed like they did in game 2. The level of pressure is going to lead to a similar scoring type of performance with a lot of free throws. And the cool thing about Jokic's game to me, unlike Shai's perhaps, Jokic doesn't play for fouls, I think, resting state, but he can and he will, and he did tonight because shots were impossible and none of his teammates were making any, and they were fucking eating him alive. I just think that that's the kind of game that we're in for, and today was 42-36 at halftime. I wouldn't be surprised if it was pretty close to that going forward. The other thing too, I kind of feel like the MPJ, Jamal, Aaron Gordon type of deal coming into a super enormous must-win game here. After not shooting super well, I just kind of like the odds of them putting up a good fight. That being said, we are very aware of what happened the last time that they played at Paycom, and the Thunder are just really good at home. And credit to the OKC fan base and how much they support their team. We are going to see what the opposing forces result in. As usual, the biggest metrics to be monitoring in this game: how many turnovers is OKC able to generate? How many offensive rebounds is Denver able to get? And how many threes are the Thunder hitting? Parting thought, I do think it's pretty cool that we've only seen 1 star outright performance, and that was game 1 Jokic with like 42 points and 20 rebounds. Shai hasn't gone supernova yet. Jokic hasn't gotten even remotely close to as good as game 1. Jamal hasn't had a supernova game. I mean, we've had heroics, but it's always been at the team level. I don't think that it's really necessarily possible, besides at this point a Jokic Thanos level clapping, but it's going to be grueling, and it's going to require a lot of fouls and a lot of absorbing physicality. And yeah, all right. Well, hopefully that was insightful, guys. I am exhausted again, and I've been sick for the past 5 days now, and that's probably why I'm 1, loopy, but 2, I sound like I just finished half a pack of Marlboro Reds. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.